So now we start to think about channels to market. So really, we've gone through all of that before we've started to think about, okay, how do we reach our customers? So that's really the first half of the wheel, and that's your thinking time. And a lot of people go straight to this point, go straight to that. Okay, I need to do a Facebook post, or I need to send an email, or I need to go to this conference and have a stand, or I need to do these various different things. And often there's benefit to what they've done, but there's no way to measure or track. They've not really thought about what they're going to say or who they're going to target. So they might not have maximized their time or the money that they put into that particular activity. So spending a bit of time going through those things and understanding the journey will essentially mean that when you come to channels and you think about what you're going to do, it means that you're going to get the biggest impact from the activity. And the first channel that we think about is your website. And this is really the hub. It doesn't have to be a multi-page website. It can be just one landing page. It just needs to be somewhere that you can direct customers. And what we need to consider here when we're thinking about channels, and again, before we're doing any activity to bring people in, is we make sure that it's tidy. Because if it is that if you've got an untidy home, you don't invite people over. You might do, depends on your standards, but often you might clean up a little bit before someone comes over. Often we invite people over just so we clean up. This is what we want to do with our website too. We want to make sure that if we're inviting people over, it's a nice experience. Because often if it is that we've spent all this time and effort bringing people to our website and they get there and they can't find the information they want, or it takes really a long time to load, or you're trying to find their number, or you don't really know what they do, and you can lose people. So you've just spent all this time and effort trying to get people in, and then you've lost it. We call this leaky funnel. Excuse me, leaky funnel. So, that you've brought them in, you spent money or time, got them to the website, and off they're gone. So actually, before we want to attract people in, and again, this kind of goes against what we think we should do, because we're saying, oh, we need more customers, we need more customers. Actually, if we focus on making sure that the customers we do get in convert, then we often get more customers that way, rather than trying all these different tactics to bring people in. So there's a specialization, conversion rate optimization, but really as startups and startup founders, what we want to make sure is that when someone lands on our website, it's really simple and really easy that people know where they should go. If it is that you're doing a Google ad campaign for a particular keyword and they land on your homepage, say you had an online shop and you sold maternity dresses, and that you had a Google ad for the keyword maternity dresses, and someone clicked on that ad and they got to the homepage that didn't show any maternity dresses, it's a really bad experience. And not only will Google not like that very well, not very much, but the person that clicked on the ad might not, if they have to search through to find maternity dresses, it's not a great experience. So think about when you're creating a situation where someone's going to come back to your website, that they come to the right place. If it is that you're directing people to the homepage, what is it that you want them to do? What's the action that you want them to do? You want the value proposition there. What's the next step? So we're a little bit lazy in the way that our brains work, especially if we're online. You need to sort of almost direct them and say, okay, click this button next, or go here. You make it really obvious about what you want them to do next, so that you can take them through that journey yourself. So think about, as I say, it doesn't have to be multi-page. It can be one single landing page. You might not even have a website. You could have a Facebook page if that's the case, in order to get customers. There are ways that you can do this now without it, but if it is that you need a hub, somewhere to bring people in the digital space, make sure that is going to lead people on the journey that will make them a customer of yours. Then we start to think about how we reach our customers. Where do we go? How do we get out there? How do we find them? This was actually right in the early days. This is an old client of ours, and they produced a very expensive luxury caravan, over $100,000, and their tactic was to advertise their caravan in a caravan magazine. This is actually their caravan here on the left-hand side in the background. And so, you know, in working with them, Phil especially started to develop their personas. Okay, who's your target audience? And so they had this idea of a sort of male target audience, and you know, people that would visit caravan shows. And as time went by, Phil started to say, well, you know, who actually is going to purchase a $100,000 caravan? Do you want to tell the story a little?
Yeah, so you know, they'd got their thing, and the other thing is within industries is that everybody starts to say, oh, if you're not in the magazine, then no one's going to see you. So they sort of got into this loop for years of like, we've got to be in there, but it is literally 200 pages worth of caravans and caravan accessories. So they started to look at it, and then they go, okay, well, who actually makes a decision on a purchase? And they started to realise that it really is people over 50, but the decision maker in a lot of cases is the wife and not the man. So it is like a home from home and things like that. And then they started to look into, you know, even with the person, who is it who loves traveling and stuff, and they were starting to identify that it's certain types of like blue collar workers or people who've actually really aspired to this, who like the outdoors. I don't know if there's a slide that follows that, or is it?
No,
yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, there you go. So the persona had changed from this sort of male persona to a more female persona, because actually the female was more likely to be the decision maker about what type of caravan, because you know, she cared about what this caravan looked like, and actually all the trimmings and the luxury. It was actually a pretty it's like a hotel room on wheels, hey, but it had all these things that popped out, and you know, luxury king size bed, and you know, the things that mattered maybe more to a female than a male. However, they'd thought originally that was male, so changed the perception of the persona, and then started to say, well, you know, based on who this persona is, you know, what other interests might they have? You know, where else might they hang out? You know, this type of person, if they've got 100 grand to spend on a caravan, you know, are probably like beautiful homes. They like going away, and they probably fly Qantas. They like good food. You know, you start to get a picture of the people that would actually, you know, this particular persona, what else they might be interested in. So this is one way that you can start to stand out, is think about who your target audience is as a human, where they might, which is, you know, where they might hang out, what they're interested in, and then how can you stand out? So, you know, you don't want to just be up against everyone else that does the same thing. And again, there's this fear, especially, you know, with these caravan guys. They were saying that they'd always advertised in the caravan magazines. And so if it is that you think that you have to be on a particular directory, you have to do these things, you know, what can you do that's going to make you stand out? If you've got a local market such as Melbourne, there's really cool ways that you can do things. You know, I don't know if you remember the pop-up sandwich toasty makers, Jaffles, I think, that you stood in a spot and it parachuted down to you. You know, you can create really fun experiences that people will get you remembered for doing something really different. So it doesn't have to be the traditional, it's thinking about the non-traditional. What can you do that's going to make you stand out? What are those things that are going to make you stand out in the places where your target audience hang out?